Are you ready? All right. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. We have with us all of our council members that have been with us throughout the day, making sure that plans are in place for what could potentially be the worst winter weather that we have had in at least the last 10 years, and some are predicting in the last 25. We have surrounding us all of the men and women that are representing all of the state agencies and the city agencies and the unattached boards and commission that would be responsible for making sure that the city is prepared for this event. The city of New Orleans is actively preparing. As we speak, I have, before I came in here, signed a declaration of emergency for the city of New Orleans. I have spoken this morning with the parish presidents of the surrounding parishes to make sure that we're in communication with each other and communicating because, of course, this is not only a regional event for the parishes, it's a regional event for the United States of America, potentially stretching from Houston all the way to the Carolinas. Simply put, when you have water and you have very cold weather, you get a bad winter storm that's got ice, sleet, and snow, potentially, but the ice being the most dangerous, and of course, because of the ice, potential power outages. So we have to, again, prepare for the worst and hope for the best. We are leaning forward. We have plans in place. These winter storms can be unpredictable with unfamiliar conditions to our area. Last Friday, the temperatures were just in the 30s. We had bridges that were frozen over, as you may remember. We had accidents on those bridges, a fairly large pileup on the Green Bridge. Sometime not long ago in Texas, when they had a similar event, there were 1,000 crashes and there were fatalities. And we want to make sure that we avoid all of that. Loss of life is, of course, the number one thing that we have to protect against. So I want to, ask the citizens again to be vigilant. This will work, and everybody will be safe if we're all smart about how we handle our business in the next couple of days. I do expect, based on what you're about to hear from Matt Moreland, that this event will begin to become extreme tomorrow morning and potentially be with us through Thursday morning. And so I have issued an order canceling or closing City Hall tomorrow and Wednesday. You will also hear from the schools and other public services about what their plans are, but I would expect that everybody in the city would do their best to follow suit. Of course, it's hard to guess what the weather is going to bring us, but again, we always prepare for the worst and we always hope for the best. We are, in fact, anticipating as much as a quarter inch of ice, and we want to advise people to stay off of the roads because if anybody's been riding on the road with ice on it, the one thing you know is that you are no longer in control, and nothing you can do is going to make that any better. The city is taking all necessary precautions. We are in a state of emergency, as I said. It allows us the flexibility and the authority to take necessary actions. Our Emergency Operations Center is currently active and will conduct 24/7 operations until otherwise noted. Our communications office will run for the press purposes, our joint information center that you all are aware of. And, of course, we will continue to coordinate with other agencies. We are working closely with the Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development and the state police to monitor the bridges and the highways, and they will be here to give you further information. Public Works, Sanitation, Park and Parkways are all on board. Crews are on standby. Public safety units are fully staffed and prepared. That is the NOPD, the New Orleans Fire Department, and EMS. All hands are on deck, and you will get good advice and counsel from the police chief, from the head of EMS, and the fire department as well. We have activated our citywide freeze plan for the homeless. Shelters will begin taking people starting at 12 p.m. On Tuesday, and we will add extra beds as capacity requires. We will be in close communication with all of our residents. Our 311 system is operating 24/7, starting Tuesday at 8 o'clock a.m. Residents can get updated information and reports. You can send in about downed trees, tree limbs, and, of course, power lines, and we will direct them to the appropriate agencies. We're working with all of our partners, as I have said. In case of emergencies, call 911. As it relates to the schools, the Orleans Parish School Board is closing public and charter schools on Tuesday. Mr. Stan Smith is here to talk more about that. The Recovery School District, we also have a representative, Mr. Dana Peterson, who will talk to us about that. As it relates to the hospitals, Ochsner, LSU, Touro, and Children's are operating and will continue to operate. We are, in fact, also coordinating with our tourism leaders. As you know, we have a major convention in town, the National Association of Automobile Dealers. The convention is winding down. Many of them have left already, but there are 400 that are still here, and we are communicating with them as we speak. The airport will be completely operational at this time, but we're in constant communication with the airlines. I believe a number of those airlines have decided to not fly tomorrow. Iftikhar Ahmed is here from the airport that will talk about that. Justin Augustine is here from the Regional Transit Authority that will speak to you about the buses. Citizens, you must be prepared. We've been through many of these things before, and the way this works is that if everybody cooperates and everybody just follows along and is considerate and is smart, the chances of anybody getting hurt or people being harmed is reduced significantly. And really, that is the order of the day. And so I would ask everybody to be vigilant, protect your family members, your pets, your pipes. I urge you to check on your neighbors, especially your elderly residents, which are really important. Make sure that you drip your faucets and wrap your pipes to prevent them from busting. If at all possible, do not park your car under trees, especially the ones with big limbs at this particular point in time. Updates are going to be available at ready.nola.gov. I would just say this to you, that dangers for the residents here are real. Driving on icy roads is life-threatening, not only for yourself, but for other people as well. Trying to break into abandoned houses to find shelter is another sure way to cause a problem, because the chief will speak about the potential fires that come from there. Stay away from fallen trees, down tree limbs, and particularly power lines. Improper use of generators and candles are also going to cause you a problem, so let's not do that. And, of course, spend the rest of today kind of getting your supplies together and having your plan in place. If you want to sign up for email or text alerts, you can do that at ready.nola.gov. Ready.nola.gov, and you can follow us on Twitter at NolaReady. This allows citizens to contact other people and get information as they need. So in summary, let me say this. This is a very serious storm. It is going to cover the entire southern part of the country all the way up to the Carolina coast. It is probably the worst that we will see in the last 10 and in some predictions 25 years. There will be ice. It will be very, very dangerous, and it's really important that we just prepare and stay ahead of the game and stay vigilant. If you can, we'll come out of this thing and, God willing, everybody would be safe. I want to thank all of the people that are with us today, especially all of our council members who have been in the loop from the beginning. And I want to thank all the heads of all of the agencies for, as always, being just tremendous in making yourself available so that the people of the city and the metropolitan area can be safe. And finally, to the parish presidents, again, who have been in great communication with each other, and to the governor's office, we just need to stay focused and make sure that we do the right thing. So with that, please let me call up Mr. Matt Moreland, who is our National Weather Service expert, to give us maybe a better rendition of what the weather is going to look like. I did the best that I could. And then we'll hear from a number of different people who will give the public the kind of information that they need. Please help me welcome Mr. Matt Moreland.
Okay, thank you. As the mayor mentioned, we're looking at a very serious storm for Metro New Orleans. This is going to be a serious ice storm. Temperatures expected to drop below freezing by 9 a.m. tomorrow morning, and the freezing rain will begin around that time. And the freezing rain will mix with sleet and snow as we head into the late afternoon and evening hours. Altogether, we're looking at a quarter to a half inch of ice accumulation. So what this means is you're going to see a glaze on all of your elevated highways, so major transportation issues. The potential for tree limbs to come down, power outages as well. So those are some significant issues you're going to see. As the mayor mentioned before, once the temperatures drop below freezing, they're going to stay below freezing for an extended period of time. So we're looking at probably all the way until Thursday morning with sub-freezing temperatures. Now the precipitation will end Tuesday night. But even though the precipitation ends, we're still looking at temperatures below freezing all the way until Thursday. As far as our lowest temperatures, that's going to occur late Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, and we'll see temperatures in the low 20s here in New Orleans. And I want to mention the wind gusts as well. We're going to see wind gusts 20 to 30 miles an hour. That could exacerbate the power outages and also the wind chill. So that's going to be a major issue. So summing it up once again, major ice storm for New Orleans, quarter to half an inch of ice with a likelihood of power outages and major transportation issues.
Great, Matt.
And
Thank
that
you very
concludes.
much. I appreciate it. Lieutenant Colonel Jerry Sneed, Deputy Mayor of Public Safety.
As the mayor stated, our Emergency Operations Center will be up and operational throughout the event, coordinating efforts of our public safety and all of our other departments. We've had some great discussions today with all those department heads and our state agencies that we work with. We're ready. We're prepared for this, so we ask our citizens to get prepared also. And again, as the mayor said, if you don't have to get out there, don't drive at all. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. All right, Fred Wiedekam from Department of Transportation and Development.
All right. We know that we're going to have ice on our elevated portions of the roadway. We know that for a fact. We have staged numerous de-icing materials, salt, sand. We will start at 4 o'clock in the morning in this area. We're already starting in other parts north of here to apply those to the roadways. We're going to maintain the major routes as long as we can. This is going to be at least a 48-hour event. We hopefully have enough material to do that. The more vehicles we have on the roadway, the more frequent we have to go out and maintain these roadways. So we're asking that, if you don't have to be out, don't be out. Leave it for the emergency vehicles and the state people to do their job on the roadway. The materials that we're putting out, once those are out on the roadway, they do deteriorate. If we can't maintain, we will be installing barricades across the roadway and with the help of NOPD, blocking off roadways, and you'll be subject to go into the ground level of the interchanges and the roadways so that we can keep you off the elevated sections.
Great. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Charles Rice, Entergy.
Good afternoon. As Mr. Moreland said, we are anticipating outages. Could last 3 to 5 days for some customers. We're preparing for this winter storm that's going to affect the entire metropolitan area, including Texas, Baton Rouge, Lake Charles, and New Orleans, and other parts along the I-10 corridor and into South Louisiana and Mississippi. The impact of ice storms is very difficult to predict, but forecasts indicate the approaching weather system could be one of the most challenging that this area has seen in some time. We use a very methodical approach and calculated process in bringing customers back online after an outage in very cold weather, regardless of whether the initial cause of the outage was specifically weather-related. For example, when wind blows debris onto lines or ice damages electrical equipment or something else. But in extremely cold conditions, what our customers may notice is that if an outage occurs, regardless of the cause, restoration will follow a different process than we normally follow during a hurricane. Rather than simply energizing an entire power line all at once, we must bring customers back online one section at a time to avoid damage to our system or making the situation worse. The reason for the different process involves how much power is being used. During extreme temperature events, hot or cold, customers tend to use more electricity, either keeping the heat or air conditioning or other devices running. Electric heaters in particular will often run constantly and not power off and on, creating too much constant power demand. Homes that have both electric heat and air conditioning, along with other electrical appliances, use more than a comparable one using just air conditioning, like in the summertime. And when the power is disrupted during winter, many customers leave their heating systems and appliances turned on, creating too much energy demand all at once when we try to restore power. When an outage occurs, restoring all customers on a given feeder has the potential to create large instantaneous power demands, and that power demand could be higher than the built-in protective devices that we have that they can handle. So meaning we could actually trip a line and cause more outages. So again, we ask you to be careful. I think as Mr. Moreland stated, we do anticipate outages. For some customers, it may be 3 to 5 days. Again, we ask that you be safe. If you do see a down power line, please do not hesitate to report that both to the city and to us. And by all means, please remain safe.
And of course, you want to tell them that you already have crews pre-staged.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for that lead-in. We are already pre-staging crews here into the metro area, so we are prepared. And just so everyone knows, we do have experience with ice storms, as our metro crews have traveled to Arkansas to assist our sister utility with regard to outages.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Rice. All right, Chief Surpass and then Chief McConnell, and then Dr. Elder to be followed by Captain Donovan or Cody from the State Police.
Thank you very much. As with all events of weather such as this, we're going to be here to work with the people in New Orleans and make them safe. This is essentially a traffic management incident. When the weather gets bad and the roads ice over and black ice occurs, people oftentimes lose control of their vehicles because they're not used to that condition of driving. The schools and the government will be closed for the next 2 days. We would encourage people to stay off the roadways Tuesday and Wednesday. We would also encourage you to recognize that even though the sleet and rain and freezing conditions may look like they've changed through Tuesday into Wednesday, there is still sub-freezing temperatures. The roadway will still maintain those sub-freezing temperatures, and the ice will still exist. So we would encourage people to report to us any conditions they see that are dangerous, any icing conditions they see on the road that are dangerous. This afternoon, we instructed that all police officers' days off are canceled. We will have all police officers on hand starting early into the morning so that we are here to be visible and vigilant. With an event like this, we can expect that heavy tree limbs may fall and break power lines. As a result of that, we want more officers in the field. We'll be using the blue light strategy you recall from Isaac, where you will see us and we will be everywhere. And we would remind people who see this as an opportunity to commit a crime that every single police officer will be working tomorrow and Wednesday and Thursday, and this would not be any time for you to try to take advantage of your neighbors or businesses in the city of New Orleans. Again, let the government do the work that we do. Help us by staying inside, and let us let you know when the roads are safe as opposed to making that decision on your own. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Chief McConnell.
The New Orleans Fire Department would like to remind all citizens with this stint of cold weather coming to please do not compromise your safety in an effort to keep warm. Use heaters only in a well-ventilated area. Keep heaters at least 3 feet, space heaters at least 3 feet from any combustibles. Don't leave children or pets around any space heaters unattended. Due to the hazards associated with unventilated heaters, make sure you only use them in an area that's ventilated. Leave windows cracked if you have to, if you have gas heaters. Electric heaters, make sure they're plugged directly into a wall socket, not using outlets. Check the extension cords on check the cords on the electric heaters. Make sure that they're not damaged. If they are, do not use that heater. Unplug all heaters if you're not in an area where they're being used. All gas heating sources must be properly ventilated, keeping windows, as I said, slightly open to circulate fresh air to reduce the chance of carbon monoxide buildup is strictly important in a tightly sealed house. Never use a stove to heat a home due to the buildup of carbon monoxide. All of these type of gas appliances can cause oxygen to deplete and death from carbon monoxide poisoning. Before you light candles, make sure that they're in a container that cannot tip over. Keep candles away from curtains or other combustibles. Never put candles near windows or exits. And do not leave candles unattended or particularly within reach of small children. Extinguish candles before you leave a room or go to bed. When power outages occur such as this, many people turn to portable generators for a temporary solution without knowing the risks. The carbon monoxide created by the generator can also lead to carbon monoxide poisoning. So make sure generators are only kept outside, well ventilated, and away from any openings in the structure. Place generators where the exhaust fumes cannot come into an open window. Also, when you're refueling a generator, never do it while it's running. Make sure you turn it off. Follow all the manufacturer's instructions that come with it, and do not store the fuel in the building. Keep it outside. With that said, as the mayor had mentioned earlier, vacant structures, often we have during these type of cold snaps. With vacant homes, we have shelters open throughout the city. Please do not take refuge in any of those places and attempt to keep warm. All the shelters are open. They're free to the public, and we're opening additional shelters. So please take shelter where it's available as a safety thing. And with that said, it'll be a good time to check your smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors, since you can have the heat running during this time.
Thank you, Chief. Dr. Jeff Elder, EMS.
So New Orleans EMS throughout this entire weather event will bring in extra crews for more emergency response vehicles to be available, in addition to working with our mutual aid partners. Additionally, I'd just like to remind everyone that this is, again, a traffic event, as Chief Surpass said, and to stay off the roads so first responders aren't tied up dealing with additional traffic accidents during the event. As well, please check on your neighbors, the frail, elderly, check on them, make sure they're doing okay. And just be a good neighbor throughout the event.
Thank you very much. State Police, and after that, Charlotte, you next.
Good evening. With this last ice storm, we experienced a 400% in statewide weather-related crashes. We hope to reduce that number significantly with all the planning and collaboration we've done here with our local partners. Here in the Troop E 6 Parish area, we have about 45 troopers assigned to the roadways. We're going to concentrate our areas on I-10, the St. Claude Avenue Bridge, the Paris Road Bridge, and the Crescent City Connection. We ask for people to please refrain from driving on the roadways. However, if you must, and if you find yourself in a situation where you need the police, you need the assistance of state police, please dial star 577, star LSP. Thank you.
Excellent. Charlotte Parent, Health Department.
Thank you. Just wanted to let you know that our partner, Homeless Shelters, Azan New Orleans Mission, will have normal operations tonight, and those two will reopen tomorrow at 2 p.m. And the Salvation Army will keep all citizens who are in the shelter as of tomorrow morning throughout the event. The City of New Orleans will open its overflow shelter tomorrow at 12 noon, and it will stay open throughout the event. And the only other thing from the Health Department is for our citizens who have electrically dependent medical equipment. If for some reason you have an outage in your neighborhood, please call 311, and we'll take it from there to see if we can get you what you need. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlotte. Iftikhar Ahmed, Armstrong International Airport, to be followed by the Surgeon Water Board, and then the RTA, and then tourism, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We just got out of a meeting with the airlines and the FAA, and the airlines are contemplating canceling all flights, if not most of them, tomorrow, and this may continue into Wednesday. So please check with your airlines on your flight status before you leave for the airport. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. All right, Bob Miller, Surgeon Water Board.
Surgeon Water Board is prepared to maintain normal operations throughout this storm event for our water, sewer, and drainage systems. Our offices will be closed on Tuesday and Wednesday, but our call center will be open and available for emergency calls at 52 Water. And just a reminder for customers, please do not drain fats, oils, or greases down your sink drains to avoid sewer blockages during this cold weather event.
Great. Thank you very much. Mr. Justin Augustine for the RTA, and then Mr. Mark Romig for the tourism industry, to be followed by Stan Smith and Dana Peterson of OPSB and the RSD.
The RTA streetcar service will be discontinued on both Tuesday and Wednesday, and it will be replaced by the RTA's bus service. The RTA's bus service will run normal operations until street conditions deteriorate to the point that we can no longer run that service. So please stay alert, check the websites of the RTA in the City of New Orleans, and be mindful. The RTA buses are operating under the same traffic conditions as normal passengers and pedestrians will be there. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Mark Romig.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As the mayor said, the automobile dealers have basically left town. We do have some guests who are remaining tonight, along with other visitors that are in town. Hotels will be staffed accordingly with their personnel, with plenty of supplies, so the situation with the hotels will be in good shape. We're in touch with the Hotel Association as well, and they're in touch with their members. I'm here with the New Orleans Convention and Visitors Bureau. Their website will be constantly updated with other information about attractions and other information that visitors will need to know, and you can find that at neworleanscbb.com. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Stan Smith, OPSB.
Good afternoon. The Orleans Parish School Board direct-run schools and all of our charter schools have reported that they will be closing tomorrow. We will continue to monitor the situation with all of our charters and provide updates on our website at www.opsb.us.
Thank you. Dana.
Good afternoon. All recovery school districts, schools in New Orleans, including our directly operated schools and charter schools, will be closed on Tuesday. We will update that listing of schools on our website, and as more information becomes available about Wednesday, either later on this evening or tomorrow morning, we'll certainly update that. I would also say that all recovery school district schools in East Baton Rouge Parish, St. Helena Parish, and Point Coupee parishes will also be closed tomorrow on Tuesday. Thanks.
All right. Is that it? Anybody else want to add their 2 cents? I think we got it. We got about as much as that we could get in there. Just as a recap, a very serious winter storm event, a lot of ice that's going to be with us a long time. Worst case scenario is through Thursday morning, and so we want to make sure, again, that we prepare for the worst and hope for the best. Cooperation, leaning forward, being prepared, communicating, reaching out to your neighbors. We've all been through this many, many times. So on this particular one, even though this is not a hurricane, it is a major event that requires us to lean forward. So I would commend all of the advice that's been given today to the people of the city of New Orleans and thank them in advance for their cooperation. Again, NOLA.ready.gov. If you need any information, if you want to report an emergency, 911. If you want to report a broken limb or things that are not of an emergency nature, then we would like for you to call 311, and we will have updates as the weather changes and as weather permits. All right. With that, we'll be happy to try to answer any questions that you might have, and you can direct them to the agency head that you have a question regarding. Yes?
I have one for DOTD about the Green Bridge. Are there any plans to shut it down or ice it or put sand out there?
We don't have plans to shut down any of the elevated sections at this moment. We plan on using de-icing materials, salt and sand, on all of our roadways to maintain those roadways as long as we can.
Again, I would just say this. If you're going to be on the roads, and I would encourage you not to be, go slow and be very, very careful.
Also for DOTD, can you explain how many trucks you'll have on the road and if there's some sort of pattern for staging them, what areas you'll move into first and what the priorities are?
We have maintenance units for each parish. So each parish has generally about 3 or 4 trucks that they'll have loaded with salt or sand or some type of de-icing material. As the events get to those parishes, each unit acts independent. So they'll start at maybe 4 o'clock in the morning, depending on what parish. For Orleans Parish, we will be starting about between 4 and 5 in the morning, applying those materials to the roadway surface, and then as needed, we'll be going on return trips to those roadways and or elevated bridges and reapplying those materials. The priority is going to be the interstate and then the U.S. routes.
You said you hope that you have enough material. How much material?
I heard him say that too.
Yeah, we
have enough material, I promise you.
We have enough. It depends on how many times we have to reapply the material. The more vehicles that are on the roadway, the more frequent we have to apply the materials. We have about 60 tons of salt. We've got 240 tons of sand to be used on the roadways. That's enough material, we feel, if we don't have to make repeated applications. We can get through this 48-hour event.
I want to speak to this issue to the citizens. If I were you, I would expect that the roads are going to be dangerous. And I would expect that DOTD is not going to have enough to get to every road all the time whenever you choose to decide to ride on it. I think that's, in kind of a polite way, what he's saying. And you're going to hear the governor and me and the parish president say, stay off of the roads unless you absolutely have to get on them, because the longer you're on the roads, the more at risk you put yourself and other people. And again, caution would be the order of the day.
City streets, are they going to get salt and sand?
I'm sorry?
You know, like Canal Street, city streets?
I don't expect that that's going to happen.
During the last event, just a quick follow-up, DOTD only shut down the Huey Long Bridge, is that correct?
No, we had the Huey Long Bridge was shut down because of accidents. So was the Green Bridge.
And the Crescent City connection as well?
Yes.
So basically it's at least in this past situation, it was car accidents causing basically a log jam, and then everybody's stuck on the bridge for a number of hours.
Correct. And when you don't have the traffic running across the lanes to help keep the ice off the roadway, those lanes ice up, and then you have more problems, and that's when we have to shut the roads down.
Okay. Yes.
Do you expect that we'll see any problems on city streets?
Yes.
Yes.
The answer is
not the elevated roadways, on just a regular street.
Let me state it again as clearly as I can. There's going to be ice that's fairly thick that we haven't seen on all of our streets, and all of the streets are going to be dangerous. And so, yes, I would expect that, and it would probably near impossible to clear the ice off of all of the streets so that all of them can be safe at all of the time. And so one of the reasons why this is particularly dangerous is because we haven't seen this in a long time, and of course we don't have a lot of experience in New Orleans driving on ice, and I'm guessing that we don't do it very well, especially if you don't have the right equipment, which is why we're asking for people's cooperation, because preserving life is really important.
Any message to the business community, mayor, or anybody else? A lot of people call us and say, hey, well, my work's not canceling, all the schools are, but any message to members of the community?
Well, I can't force private businesses to do anything. but based on the information that I'm hearing from the Weather Service and based on the best advice that I'm receiving from the experts that work in public safety, I have decided to declare an emergency and to close City Hall for the next 2 days because I think that's in the best interest of the city. I think the schools are also doing the same thing, although they may extend their closure to Wednesday. I think the young man from the National Weather Service said he expects it to turn bad tomorrow morning, and that based on the best predictions that they have available to them now, it's going to stay dangerous until Thursday morning. Of course, the weather can change and things may clear up on Wednesday, and they would wish that they played the Super Bowl here on Wednesday, which they should have done anyway. That's another subject. But I think that most people have indicated that it's going to be a fairly dangerous thing. So again, we've been through many catastrophic events in this area: Katrina, Rita, Ike, Gustav, national recession, the BP oil spill, the whole program. The best order of business is to prepare for the worst and to hope for the best. There's always inconvenience involved in this. It's always difficult. It's never easy, but it is much easier and safer when everybody leans forward, prepares, looks out for their neighbor, and uses common